Okay, this is a short video to help people work out a system to organise and file away emails so that we can better utilise our time in reading the important emails and disregarding the important ones until they actually require our attention. Just a quick caveat before I start. I'm using the latest version of Mail, so some aspects of the interface will be slightly different. I also use a couple of add-ons to increase my productivity with my Mail client, which you may or may not have. One of those is called Growl Mail. I highly recommend that you go and look it up. Google it, Growl Mail, Growl Mail. So this video is just simply going to walk you through the steps needed to file away an email into a predetermined folder that you've created based on your own methodologies and approaches. You can see here I have a series of servers in place: Edumail, iCloud, Gmail, Stuhneck.com and Reminders. And on my Mac, historically I used to store everything on my Mac. Then some point last year I changed my mind about how I wanted to work, and I now use IMAP servers. So these are each of the email accounts that I have in their appropriate servers. And I can see at the moment there are 7 unread emails on this server. If I click on the show button here, I can see that those 7 unread emails are in Web 2.0 folder, which doesn't require my urgent attention. It'll be Sunday morning reading, perhaps, if I get the chance. There's nothing in my work folder, nothing in my personal folder, so there's nothing that requires my immediate attention, so I can go back to doing other things. In the preferences, I can set up Mail to alert me every time an email arrives, but I sometimes find this a bit annoying, so I can change. At the moment I have it set to none, but perhaps you might like to turn on one of these, or add or remove a different sound if you wish. As I said, I've turned that off. I find it gets in the way a little bit because I now use this thing called Growl Mail here. And eventually we will work with some mail settings here, but first of all I will break my mail down into a personal, work and other, and set up folders for those, which will live over here. Okay, we're back, and here is the email sitting in my inbox, and the task at hand is to move the mail automatically. In future, the process needs to be undergone once, but to move the mail automatically into this folder here called Demonstration. I've already created the folder based on a series of parameters that I thought about in advance. The next step to add this email automatically to in the future, this and any other email that's based on the idea in the future into that folder, I need to go to Mail and Preferences, and then from the Preferences folder I need to choose Rules, and you can see here that I've got a whole bunch of rules already in place. As I said earlier, not only am I using a newer version of the operating system, I also have an add-on for my mail called Growl. Just Google that, you'll find it very useful, I find. This is the mail dialog box, or part of the preferences, and on the right we have an add rule button, an edit button, a duplicate button, a remove button, all fairly self-explanatory. And in this instance we're going to add a rule. But before we do that, I'm just going to select the actual mail that I want to apply the rule to, and I'm also going to mark it as unread. Message mark as unread, because I want to demonstrate a point with that. Alright, so now we're back to our preferences. I have the mail in the background there, you can see, and I'm going to now add a rule. I'll call the rule demonstration. Now the rules are broken up into 2 components: conditions and actions. So conditions are certain conditions that apply to any particular mail, whether it be a recipient in this case, from, to, a carbon copy, or a subject field, for example. And because I have the mail chosen, this particular mail chosen in the background, it's already listing the demonstration, the subject of the email, which was demonstration email number 2. If I had chosen from, it would list my generic email there that I use most of the time, or any of these other possibilities here I could choose from in this entire list here. But I'm going to stick with subject in this instance because it quickly and easily demonstrates the point, and I hope people can take something from that. Once the condition has been met, where the subject contains demonstration email number 2, I then need to perform an action, and I'm going to move the message to the demonstration folder. And just it's unfortunate that I left it here from last time, but there it's sitting in that folder. I could put it in any folder if I like. I could put it in the work folder, for example, or I could put it in the PRC folder if I wished. I'm going to put it in the demonstration folder there. I'm then going to add another action to this condition, and that action is to flag the mail. And this is particular to my version of Mail and operating system. I can actually flag it red. Older versions you can simply flag it. The last action that I'm going to apply is the stop evaluating rules action, so it then gets to reading that, filing it away and flagging it, and does no more. I'll then click OK. It asks me, do I want to apply this rule to this to any emails that the email client has found. I do. I click apply, and now you'll notice that the mail has disappeared from my inbox and is now automatically filed in my folder called demonstration. I'll just close my preferences now and come across here, and there it is, demonstration email number 2 with a red flag on it. The reason I put a red flag on it was because up here in reminders you will now see of the 48 emails that I have flagged red, here is the most recent one that I file away automatically. This way, with flagging and with messages being read and unread, you can very quickly determine any area of your email that requires immediate action. Even with all my servers turned up like this, I can see my Studnic.com has 8 emails. What 8 emails have I got? Well, 7 of them are in my Web 2-0 folder. Well, they're not very important. I won't attend to those. Today's Thursday. I have one in my work folder. Well, that needs attention. Which work folder is it in? Oh, it's the demonstration one that I sent earlier. So I've now read it. I can now either delete by control or right-clicking or do some other action to the email. So I hope that's some use to you. Feel free to fire off an email and ask me questions. I am attempting to also put together a PDF at some point in the not too distant future about that process.